Hi, I'm Keziah Gibbons. My pronouns are she and her. I'm the founder of the Guided by Keziah app, and this is this week's tarot reading for the week ahead. Before we read, I'd like to share with you some changes about how I'm going to be working and how the Guided by Keziah app will work as a consequence. So you'll see that this week's reading is all about hibernation, and for me, it's time for me to start to withdraw with the season as well. So this year's been pretty full on for me, and I find that I'm getting to a point where I need to factor in a little more rest and self-care for myself so that I can put everything into the work that I am doing. So what that's going to look like is that I'm winding down on live appearances and the Monday tarot readings. So we have 2 live workshops scheduled for December in the Guided by Keziah app, which are the Magician Storytelling in Tarot module and a Reiki Healing Circle with the Reiki Masters. And then after that in 2024, I won't have any live workshops scheduled for a little while, just to allow for this recuperation. And the Monday tarot readings are also going to be on pause for a little while. I'll probably come back with one around New Year because it's a good time to check in. But I can't at the moment commit to putting one out for you every Monday. These changes and this pause is going to go hand in hand with a reduction on the subscription price for Guided by Keziah. I've always priced it as accessibly as I can. It's one of the things that I'm very pleased with, and I've been very proud to be able to share so much with you for something that is so reasonable. But the pricing will be coming down even more to reflect that there are no longer live workshops included in the app subscription after December. For those of you who already had a subscription at the earlier prices, the price change takes place on the 15th of November. In the spirit of fairness and in gratitude for all that you have done to support my work so far, I will invite you to take part in further workshops. So I will run some workshops in 2024, not immediately starting in January, but at some point you can expect to see the rest of the Magician cycle and also a tarot course for professional readers, so professional skills for tarot readers. Probably also some Reiki courses and workshops as well. So if you are a lifetime subscriber to Guided by Keziah at the earlier pricing, so pre-15th of November, then you will be invited to all of my workshops for life. That's your pass. If you are a yearly subscriber, pre-15th of November, then you will be invited to all of my workshops for a year, starting with the first workshop that I give in 2024. And if you're a monthly subscriber pre-15th of November, then you will be invited to the first workshop that I give in 2024. So those are some changes to how I'm working and how I'm managing my energy so that I can share more creativity with you. I will continue to share courses and the workshop recordings and new meditations on the app. We'll still have the daily tarot ritual, which I'm really pleased with. And I know a lot of people find helpful. And of course, I have some wonderful teachers bringing new content onto the app all the time. And so that will continue to happen. So that's just an update on how I'm working and how the app will be working. And let's go ahead and do our reading for the week. So this is the last Monday tarot reading for a little while. And it is themed around hibernation. So we've got here at the top 2 positions for the changing season. So where I am in the Northern Hemisphere, the seasons are definitely changing. We're in, I think we call it autumn. It feels very cold. The trees are not yet bare. There are some beautiful, beautiful colours around. It's cold, it's quite damp, and we know that winter is coming, as we say here in the north, apparently. So as the season changes without. So this position in this week's reading is about changes that are going on in the world, which might affect you or which you might notice. And then we've got changing season within. And this is where we reflect within ourselves what's happening within the world. So as the season changes without, you may find that your own cycles, your body, your mind, your heart also change with it. So we've got the changing season without and the changing season within. We then have right here in the center this position of hibernation. So hibernation is something that a lot of animals do in the winter. They go and they find somewhere warm and cozy and they settle down for the winter. And it's an act. It's something that we do. So hibernation in this reading, this position, is about what can we do or what might we do as a response to the changing seasons to take care of ourselves that is natural, but something that we do. We've then got these 2 positions down here, which are a result of the hibernation. So we've got restore, because when we take time out, when we withdraw, when we rest, we are restoring ourselves, we are restoring our energy. And we've got growth, because when we go into hibernation, when we get into winter, it may seem that things are very still. But under the surface, there might already be seeds planted which are growing. So what might grow even in this period of stillness? So those are our positions for today. Now I invite you to take a deep breath and just ask to receive what you need. Today I'm using the Arthurian Tarot by Caitlín and John Matthews with artist Miranda Grey. I don't do a lot of public readings with it, but it did feel right for this reading today. I can feel the energy coming off it already. So our first card then, the changing season without. So think changes that are going on outside of us. And the card we get is a Major Arcana card, 11, Sovereignty. So sometimes this is justice in this position, Major Arcana 11. And sovereignty is really about, in the Arthurian legends, it comes up as land sovereignty. You have here this woman who represents the spirit of the land and the spirit of sovereignty. So there are lots and lots of things which are happening around this theme of sovereignty. So this can be about each of our sovereignty over ourselves, the choices we make, for which we are responsible. But also we are living in a time where the sovereignty of the earth is at stake. We are not ceding sovereignty to the earth, to the planet we live on, to the land that we live on. And this card, this image of sovereignty, is all about how we relate to the land in a way that is respectful and that recognizes that the land is another being to which we are relating and is not an object or a resource for us to play with. So in this position of the changing season without, I wonder if it's an invitation to actually get in touch with the land wherever you are, whether this is somewhere you've always been, whether it's somewhere that you're new, and see the land as a being. So here we have the land represented as a being. And notice, how is the land behaving? What is the land wearing? As I mentioned earlier, here in the north of England, lots of reds and oranges, a little bit of green and yellow still as well. And develop that relationship with the place, wherever you are, the place that you are. So sovereignty, I can actually recommend, there is a nature connection course by Claire Snowdon of Dragon Mindfulness, which is very generously sharing with our community on the Guided by Keziah app, that I'm really, really excited to share with you in the coming weeks. And that is one way that you might go about creating a relationship with the land, with nature, where you are, as the seasons change. And so, in fact, reflecting this, how the changing seasons outside of us affect us, but also how our relationship with the place where we are, with the land, with the earth, affects us, with nature, the rest of nature, because we're part of nature as well. So I knew this was the right deck to use. I knew it would have a powerful message for us. So the second position then, the changing season within, is Stone 4, so 4 of Pentacles. And the 4 of Pentacles in lots of decks is seen as being quite closed off, and I think there is something here about boundaries. But what you see here is a mound, a fairy mound, a burial mound, with a lot of treasure spilling out of it. So first we have links with the ancestors, with the past going on. So it may be that if there is hibernating to do, if there is changes going on within you, perhaps as well in connection with this relationship with the land, then that might be something ancestral as well. And look, our ancestors leave us treasures. They also leave us a sense of identity, however we connect with that sense of identity. And of course, this is a magical place. So in this position of the changing season within, it is an invitation to go inward. So sometimes these places, as well as places of burial, were places of initiation. Someone might go in and spend a night in the burial mound and have a profound experience with it. So it's an invitation to go inwards, to connect with the ancestors and with the treasure which they have to offer us. So 2 really powerful invitations there in the changing season. And of course, again, for those of you who do choose to go into a time of hibernation or stillness, or create space for restoration and growth for yourselves, then these might be the kinds of work, inner work, that you do while this is happening. Hibernation then, the act of hibernation. And we have here as perfect Major Arcana 12, the Wounded King. So that's sometimes a hangman in other decks. And the Wounded King, absolutely connected with this idea of sovereignty in the land. So it comes from the idea that the ruler of a land represents the land. And so if the ruler is sick, the land is sick as well. Now, it's a metaphor. We're not encouraging ableist interpretations here. It's absolutely fine for people who are sick or wounded or in any other way to hold positions of power. And it's okay to take the time out if you are wounded in some way, if you need to. But what we have here is, again, it's just a reinforcing of this idea that what happens within and what happens without are connected. So what we really have here in hibernation is this invitation with the wounded king to a pause, to a rest, to healing, to create time and space for healing. So, and that's what your invitation to hibernation, if you want to, is. If you have something that needs healing, that needs restoration, that needs time, then it's absolutely okay for you to take that. Restore. How might you restore yourself, or how might you be restored by this act? What might be restored by this act? And we've got Spear 9, so it's a very liminal space. You see here the coast is where earth meets water, and this spear, which is just there on the edge, standing on sentinel. So we have defense and protection here in Spear 9. And Spear 9, or the 9 of Wands, often has a connotation that you've been through the wars, you've been through something, you might still be going through it, but you're really sort of, you're getting towards the end of it, and you still have to be a little bit protective of yourself. You have to give yourself permission to protect yourself. And so with it coming up in this position of restore, I think it goes very well with the Wounded King in hibernation, that, you know, you have an invitation to take stock of where you have been, of how that's affected you, and to give yourself space to allow that restoration, to allow some healing to happen. And then finally, we've got growth. So in this space, that is created, the space of hibernation, that is held by sovereignty, by stone 4, by the land we're on, and the ancestors, if you choose to connect with those in some way. What can grow? Oh, and 2 cards came out, so I'm just going to let them come. And so we've got the Grail Hallow, so that's the Ace of Cups. And this is all about flow and love and connection with source. And then we've got the Green Knight, Major Arcana 15, which is a take on the devil. And so we've got these 2 almost sort of conflicting cards. So I'm going to start with the Green Knight, because I like it as a different take on the devil. So the devil can often be about stuck patterns, and in the story of the Green Knight, it's a very, very old story, thousands of years old we're talking. What we have here is that the Green Knight comes as a challenger, presents a challenge which is seemingly very easy, and then comes back as so it basically presents himself as defeatable with no consequences, but then comes back with consequences. And in the end of the story, there is a restoration of balance. So what we have here are challenges, and the need to approach our challenges with integrity and to not take advantage of anyone. And then we have the Grail Hallow, which is all about being in connection with source, in connection with the universe, in connection with your heart. The cups, the grails, are about the emotions, the heart. And operating from this place, operating from the heart. And the other thing about the Green Knight this Major Arcana 15, is that it represents how you use your own power, and that's really the main message of it. So here you've got an invitation to grow in a way that uses your own power and recognizes that your own power comes from the heart. So that could be powerful. I'm not going to say it could be easy, because it might not be. That Green Knight is not necessarily going to be easy, but it could be powerful and very, very I want to say loving, in the context of all love, universal love, compassion, connection with all that is, recognition of all that is as something that is worthy of your love and that loves you as well. So a very powerful reading here. And I invite you to sit with it for a while and perhaps meditate with some of these cards. Thank you so much for joining me. I wish you a wonderful week ahead. Please do check out the tarot resources on the Guided by Keziah app and take really good care. Thank you.